Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. I'm Tanner Knight, and today is NGD, New Guitar Day, once again. This is a model of guitar that I've never owned, so let's go ahead and dive in and see what we've got. Alright, so we've got an aftermarket Gator case, which, I don't know, I typically prefer an original hardshell case. Whenever you see OHSC, that means original hardshell case, and in this case, Gator is an aftermarket brand. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got. Inside, we have Peavey Limited or LTD ST. I just realized that my ring light was off this whole time, so I apologize for that, but better late than never. This limited ST, US made guitar with a maple cap, and it looks like the binding itself is maple as well. It's possible that this is just a veneer on top and that this is the maple cap. But either way, a maple cap with what looks to be maple binding, and the back, I believe, is mahogany. We'll have to double check the specs, with a maple neck. And this does not look like the standard Peavey bilaminate neck that I'm used to. So a later guitar, I think this is a 2001, looks like they've gone away from that bilaminate maple neck where they glued two pieces of hard rock maple together and called it good. But we have 3 on a side Grover tuners. You'll see the EVH style guitars, kind of similar to this, will have 4 and 2. So this is a slight departure from that, but it is in that lineage of guitars. A rosewood fretboard, 22 medium frets. Our pickup configuration is humbucker, single coil, so we should have a vast array of tones out of here. We've got a master tone and a master volume control, what appears to be a 5-way toggle. Yep, that's a 5-way switch. And let's see if we have a trem arm in here. Does not look like the tremolo arm is with the guitar. So what appears to be a US nicely made guitar. I like how these strings are straight pull, they don't have any angle on them. Let's go ahead and plug it in and hear how she sounds. Alright, so what are my first impressions of this guitar? Well, first off, it feels like it's very high quality. The neck has a very finished feel, all of the frets are rolled, these edges are rolled, so no sharpness here whatsoever, just very comfortable, nice natural feeling neck. And a nice thickness as well. We'll get some dimensions on the neck in a second, display them on the screen here and make sure that you have the thickness here and at the 12th fret. So we'll get those for you now. I'm not exactly sure if this is a Seymour Duncan Zebra pickup here, this humbucker in the bridge. We'll have to take a look at that in a second. But these 2 single coil pickups, they look a little bulkier than a Fender single coil, but they do have staggered pole pieces, so a nice little feature there. I like that the bridge has individual saddles as well for each individual string. That's always a nice feature in my opinion. This black material here for the nut, I think it's a Graphtec type of material. It sticks out just a hair, so I'm not sure if the neck is shrunk or if this is expanded, but that's not 100% flush on the top and bottom where the nut meets the fretboard. But it looks like it's cut very nicely, and the string depth looks like it's very good. Alright, so I got this guitar tuned up in drop D. Let's go ahead and hear some tones. We'll add some gain and see what this guitar can do. So that's the humbucker with a clean tone. It's pretty recognizable as a humbucker clean tone, nice and full. I think that pickup might come alive a bit more when we add some gain, but let's hear the single coils before we do that. So I'm not 100% sure if this 5-way toggle is like a Stratocaster, where it's bridge, and middle, just middle, and neck, and then the neck for the 5th position. So we'll have to take a look at a schematic of this guitar and see if that's the case. But I'm just going to go right to the middle position, skip the second position, and hope that it's the middle single coil pickup and see what it sounds like. If I had to guess, I would call that a single coil sound. So let's go all the way to position 5 and assume for now that we're in the neck pickup, and then we'll try a bit of the combination of the two. But for now, we're in all the way in position 5 or 1, depending on what you call it, but I call the left all the way in 5. Alright, just for kicks, let's go back to position 2. So we're in all the way in the humbucker, I assume. Just kick it over to 1. Now I'm going to assume, like I said, I don't know for 100% sure, we'll figure it out. But right now, I think we're in the humbucker. And position 4, just for kicks. So we're in 3, move it to between the 5th and 3rd position. So should be both the single coils. You can see that it does actually cancel the hum. I don't know if you can pick that up, but it does sound like it cancels the hum. So I do think we are in fact in both pickups, both single coil pickups when we're in position 4. So cool single coil sounds. Very nice, very even, warm. I like it. Just for kicks, let's check out what the tone knob does. Here it is in the bridge humbucker. Pretty much what you would expect a tone dial to do. When you wind it down, it muffles or mutes the sound. Kind of jazzier tones. When you open that tone all the way up, it brightens things up. And you have that wide open sound. By the way, let's talk about the rig that we are using today. We have this Peavey guitar plugged directly into the Marshall 1987 X Plexi Mark II head that is plugged today into the EVH 2x12 cabinet, which features 2 Celestion Creambacks, 75-watt speakers, some of my favorite speakers. This cab sounds absolutely great with this Marshall head, and this Peavey guitar really sounds great too with it. From the EVH cab, I have 3 mics capturing the sound today. We have 1 mic on each speaker and a room mic for a total of 3. We have the MXL Guitar Cube Professional on the left speaker, or my right speaker. Then we have the Sennheiser E906 on my left or right, with the Audio-Technica 4033 SE condenser mic as our room mic. Since we're in drop D tuning, let's go ahead and go straight to the metal zone, see what this humbucker sounds like with some serious gain on it. humbucker sounds through the Marshall, really familiar, great sounds. It's ballsy, it's chunky, but you can hear each individual string, at least with these power chord type riffs. Just for kicks, let's hear what these single coils sound like with the Metal Zone. So all three of those are excellent sounds, and I assume that the position 2 and 4 is just as good, but we'll leave that for another day. My preferred position in any guitars, generally leave it in the bridge, especially when you got a humbucker there. That's my fat sound, and that pretty much covers everything that I would want out of a guitar. But these two single coils rip. At first I didn't think there was much of a tonal variation between the humbucker and the two single coils, but when you really hear them side by side, you can tell there is. And the good news is that all three sound awesome. It's almost as if it brightens up as you go down the scale here with the switch, with the humbucker being the brightest, and then a little bit more darker sounding single coils for your bridge and your middle, and the combination of the two. Great sounding guitar. Alright, what are my final thoughts on this guitar now that I've played it for a few minutes? There's way more value here than in a lot of US made guitars. I've said that about Peavey from the start pretty much. I've been a Peavey fanboy for many a year, and that goes way back to my dad and my whole family using Peavey gear pretty religiously as touring musicians. I would say that this represents kind of the zenith of Peavey's capabilities as a guitar builder, because once the mid-2000s come around, they start to drop favor for their guitar building in Mississippi and move a lot of that overseas. So you see a lot more imports coming from Peavey, and their US-made guitars get less and less. It seems like they're trying to reach a higher-end audience with like the EVH Wolfgang and the HP series after that. They try to pack a lot of value in these guitars as a result. So you just have to be a little bit wary of the era in which you're buying a Peavey guitar. But in the right era, this early 2000s, late 90s, even back into the 80s and late 70s, you get super high quality for pretty much rock bottom prices on US instruments. The Grover tuners feel really great. They're high-end tuners. They really add a nice touch to this guitar. as well as this unique headstock. It's kind of harkening back to that old school Peavey's T-style headstock, like the T25, T15, T60, etc. But we have a nice overlaid veneer here, which I can't tell exactly what that is, but it's similar to the Gibson style. You know, they put that veneer over the top of the headstock. The truss rod adjustment is right here at the end of the fretboard, so that's nice and easy to get your Allen key in there and adjust that as necessary. The maple top is not what I would call super impressive, but it's a pretty nice top. This guitar has been played quite a bit. You can see evidence of that right here. No pick guard, which, you know, on a top like this, that's pretty much to be expected. But these knobs feel nice and heavy, nice knurled aluminum or stainless steel, can't tell there. But nice little ceramic top on top as well. Jack plate on the side, always something that I love. You don't see too many Peavey guitars with a rosewood fretboard as well, so that's kind of a nice unique touch here. Overall, just a rock solid shredder. This pickup configuration kind of belongs in the 80s, so this is the end of that shredder guitar era where Eddie Van Halen tends to move off and he goes to start his own company, EVH. So that music is not necessarily hugely in favor at the end of the 90s, but there are still quite a few people playing shredder-style guitars. Luckily for me, it's not a Floyd Rose or a Kahler tremolo. I like those, but I don't love those types of tremolos. So this is a Peavey branded, their own proprietary style of bridge, and it looks very similar to that T style of bridge as well, where it's just an angle iron stainless steel piece here with 2 points for the trem. So, great value, great sounding guitar, US made construction, and quality that you can count on from Peavey. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guitar through its paces, and we'll go ahead and aim for a long-term review, maybe 2 or 3 weeks down the road. But right now, I wanted to unbox this, plug it in, share some tones with you, and hopefully it gives you a little bit of insight into this Peavey guitar. So thanks for watching. If you like this content, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll hope to see you on the next one.